Hello everyone, how are you today? This is Marc. Making mistakes in English is very common among students who are learning English from scratch. In this video, I want to talk about the 5 most common grammatical mistakes people make. So let's just go over them, okay? Let me tell you first that I have a special section on my channel called Confusing English. There are a list of videos dedicated to confusing words, confusing verbs, etc. So go over them. So the first mistake is forgetting about the S in the third person singular for present simple sentences. So an example could be, she speaks English, he speaks English. Not he speak English, she speak English. We need to add an S if the sentence is a positive one. What happens if the sentence is a negative sentence? Well, we add the auxiliary doesn't. He doesn't speak English, she doesn't speak English. Some people say he don't speak English, she don't speak English. Well, that's incorrect. We say she doesn't speak English, he doesn't speak English. It doesn't eat meat, for example, no? So, this is the first mistake, the most common mistake of all. The second mistake I want to talk about is about conditionals. We have the first, second, and third conditionals. Some people confuse them, okay? So remember that in the sentence, the condition follows or the present simple, or the past simple, or present continuous, the past continuous, or even the past perfect. The result instead is used with a present, okay? This would be the zero conditional, or in the first conditional you will add will plus infinitive plus a verb in an infinitive form. The second conditional and the result part of the sentence is with would plus infinitive. And in the third conditional the result would be with would plus present perfect. So have plus the past participle. Some people get confused between them, okay? And don't forget that, it's very important. So an example that I could think of is for the first conditional, if tomorrow rains, I will stay home, okay, for the first conditional. So as you can see, I place the present simple at the beginning, and in the result I placed the auxiliary of the future, which is will, and then the infinitive verb. For the second conditional, if I studied harder, I would pass my exam. So the first part is with the past simple, and the second part, the result, is with would plus infinitive. So an example with the third conditional, if I had studied harder, I would have passed my exam. So the first part, so the condition of the sentence would be with the past perfect. And then the second part is with would plus present perfect. Okay, so have plus past participle. Now let's look at the third most common mistake. And this is with possessives or apostrophe S. A lot of people don't know where to place the apostrophe S for a possessive, and also for other things that I will go over just after that. So the formula I give my students is whose, so who's done the action, plus apostrophe S, plus what, the object. So for example, Tanya's pet, or Tanya's brother, okay? So Tanya apostrophe S plus the object, or in this case with brother is a person, okay? Tanya's brother. So this is what regards to the possessives. What about the apostrophe S can be also an auxiliary. And for example, he's watching TV. He's watching TV. I know that S, the apostrophe S there, is the verb to be because there is a germ. Okay? As opposed to he's gone back to America. That S there is the auxiliary has, obviously, because, and I know that because there is a past participle right after it. So the fourth mistake I want to give you in this mini lesson is the difference between could and should. Could is to be able to do something in the past. So, when I was young, I could swim. Now I can't anymore. Okay? So could is be able to do something in the past. Should instead is a modal verb like could, but we use it for suggestions. Okay? So I can say, or I can give a suggestion to a friend of mine, and I say, you should study harder. Okay? You should study harder. So is to give, we use it to give an advice to someone. So should and could. This is the other confusing grammatical point that students make. Now, the last most common grammatical mistake I want to talk about is about the difference between who and which. Okay, so who, we use it for people. Okay, so when we want to refer to people. Okay, obviously we use it in written English or in formal English. The example I could think of, I saw the woman who was attacked. Okay, who replaces the woman here. And in informal English, I could even say, I saw the woman that was attacked. This is in informal English. Use which instead for things or events only. So, the movie which was shown on TV was bad. Okay, so this is in formal context, so in written English, but in informal way, I could even replace it with that. So the movie that was shown on TV was bad. Okay, so now let's recap. The first mistake I talked about was forgetting about the S in the third person singular for present simple sentences. And obviously, if you have a sentence, a negative sentence, don't forget to conjugate it with the auxiliary does for the third person singular. So the second mistake I talked about were the conditionals. So the first conditional, second conditional, and the third conditional. Don't forget to follow the rule, the formula, okay, of the condition and then the result. Okay, don't confuse them with switching tenses or verbs or so on. The third mistake I talked about was the possessives, or the S, the apostrophe S at the end of the subject. Okay, remember the formula whose plus apostrophe plus what or who, obviously. So Tanya's brother, it was my example. The fourth mistake I talked about was the difference between should and could. So should is for suggestions or advice, and could is the same as to say to be able to in the past. Okay, the last mistake I talked about were the relative pronouns who and which. So who is used for people, for persons, and which for things or events. Okay, these are only for formal contexts. If you want to use them in informal context, you can replace both with that. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please share it, and I see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.